Good afternoon. We'll call to order the regular meeting of the City of Murfreesboro Board of Zoning Appeals for January 25th, 2023. First item on our agenda is a determination of a quorum, and with all 5 members of the board present, we do have a quorum. The next item is approval of the minutes from the December 19th, 2022 meeting. Those minutes were provided to the board members. Are there any changes necessary to those? Hearing none, those will be approved as written. Next, we'll move to new business. I've got a couple special use permits today. The first one, application Z2301 by Rutherford County Board of Education, represented by Jeff Hooper of Barge, Cawthon and Associates, requesting a special use permit to construct a 2-story, 102,000 square foot building addition to an existing group assembly use, in this case, Oakland High School. Oakland High School is in a single-family residential RS-15 zoning district, and this is located at 2225 Patriot Drive. Mr. Aguilera, if you would review this application for us.
Yes, Chair Young, thank you, sir, and thank you, members of the Board of Zoning Appeals.
Steve, could you go to the PowerPoint for Joel? Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I'm going to be sharing a PowerPoint today. Due to the size of the application and the schools, I think staff thought that it would be better to make a presentation just to kind of go over briefly of the site, and rather than going through the PDF, it was a little bit more difficult to try and consolidate it, so we just thought it'd be better to make a presentation. So yes, today's first item of today's agenda is a special use permit request for Oakland High School, represented by Jeff Hooper of Barge, Cawthon and Associates. They are requesting a special use permit to construct a 102,000 square foot building addition and parking lot modification located at Oakland High School. Again, that's at 2225 Patriot Drive. The building addition, let me go to it as well so you can see. This is the overall layout of the site. The building addition will connect from the rear of the existing main building to the new annex building, and includes interior renovations as well for both of the buildings. The property is zoned single-family residential RS-15, which is, again, why it's coming to you all today for review and consideration. The surrounding properties, as you can see here from this site, overall layout is mostly surrounded by residential, with Oakland Middle School to the north. Again, the primary uses are mostly single-family residential with a little bit of vacant land also to the north. The building addition, the total building square footage for the existing schools is around 298,000 square feet, and in the existing buildings have a height of 42 feet. The addition will have mechanical rooftop. The addition will have mechanical equipment on the rooftop, and again will be around 2 stories, and will house an estimated 25 new classrooms, which will bring the total to around 116 classrooms. Again, this will feature classrooms as well as, in addition to some science labs and an auditorium. The addition will include a catwalk for the enclosed second floor hallway with an opening at grade for vehicular access from the parking lot to the athletic fields at the north end of the property. The breezeway clearance height and width are 14 by 34 feet, and exceeds the minimum clearance required by the Murfreesboro Fire and Rescue Department for fire truck clearance. Staff wanted to go over that and make sure that the fire truck clearance was meeting those standards. It's required to be 13 feet, and so when we consulted with that, they determined that this was going to be compliant with that standard. An intercom system with outdoor speakers will be installed on the addition that will be used for emergency communications. And when reviewing the architecture and of the school, staff reviewed that to be that it's going to be compliant and matching the existing school building. I wanted to go again closer and include this slide as well in our presentation. This is a blown up image of the site layout. Again, just showing the proposed addition. You can see again where it connects right here to the existing annex building from the main building. And we can see the parking lot modifications all right here. All along here, this will be where they have the new parking spaces included on the site. In our staff report, we did include a table for you all to review to see what they've been adding and what they're taking away. Currently, as it's required, they're required to have 580 parking spaces, and they currently provide 847, which is compliant with Chart 4 of the parking requirements of the zoning ordinance. So in total, they're taking away total of 89 spaces and providing back 293 again, bringing it to a total of 1,051. So again, even though they are removing spaces and there's going to be parking lot modifications to it, they're still going to be exceeding the minimum parking standards for that. I wanted to go over, so this is what's being proposed with the architectural elevations. Again, it is going to be compliant with and compatible with the existing architecture. As you can see, it's going to be mainly using brick, and then again, it's going to match kind of the feel of what's existing today at Oakland High School. In reviewing, let me go back. In reviewing the general standards of applicability, staff did not find any issues with the application. We reviewed, we wanted to look at, again, the class population to see how many classrooms and how much of the student population is going to be added. It's going to be going from 2,200 to 2,500. That's the same number that will also be at Riverdale as well. And in reviewing the rest of the standards regards to lighting and, again, reviewing the potential impacts, staff did not find any issues with these standards of general applicability. And in reviewing the additional standards for the institutional group assembly, staff reviewed the photometric plan that was submitted and found that there's nothing going to be exceeding the property line, and that, again, that it was going to be compliant with the parking regulations and architectural requirements for that having that compatible feeling with the school. Staff did review as well, again, the on-site circulation, and the applicant has confirmed in its letter that most of the on-site circulation and traffic that is today, that is on-site, is still going to be continue to be managed by them, and they do not anticipate any changes to those on-site traffic circulations. And again, in reviewing the overall application, staff did not have any issues with it. The proposed addition will be consistent in architecture and exterior building materials with the existing school building. The proposed height is similar to the existing buildings today, and although this has been an addition that has significant square footage to it, staff did not find any issue with this building and found it to, again, be compliant with the property and with the school. Staff recommends that approval of this special use permit because it meets, again, the general standards of applicability and the specific standards for institutional group assembly. If approved, staff recommends the special use permit to the following conditions, and that's included in your staff report. I'm here for any questions if you have any, and the applicant, as well as a representative from Rutherford County Schools, Trey Lee, is here as well.
Thank you. Any questions for staff at this point? I assume these are they removing some portables or changing to what facilities are there?
Yeah, they are going to be, so staff has reviewed that kind of where the existing portables are, and we discussed that, with this new addition, we anticipate them to be removed since they are going to be having that additional classroom space. I think the applicant and staff will be reviewing that kind of timeline to when it is to be removed. It is in the condition, and I believe if the applicant wanted to try and talk a little bit about that, specifically about the timeline when they're to be removed, you can ask that to him as well.
Okay.
So if this is approved and this construction, there won't be any portables on that property?
No, as from the applicant, it seems with this addition, it's the portables were removed after that. This seems to be accommodating the additional student population that will be coming in.
Any further questions for staff? Thank you. All right, anything the applicants would like to add to staff's presentation?
I am Trey Lee, the Assistant Superintendent for Engineering and Construction for Rutherford County Schools. Thank you for your time. Would like to offer a little bit of clarification on the portables. One of the comments was that the city would like to issue a certificate of occupants after we move portables. Right now, the current schedule for this project is to be completed in December of 2025 if we start this summer. We cannot remove the portables until the addition is completed and we can utilize it, then the portables will go. Currently, we have added additional portables. And full disclosure, we're probably going to have to add one or two more before this project is complete with the growth that continues to come to all of our schools. It is the board's intention that none of our county high schools will exceed 2,500 students from this point going forward. This will get Oakland and Riverdale to that point with the intention that as soon as it's finished, we're going to move all these portables out. Unfortunately for us, same thing you all fight daily is the growth that continues to come to us. It's a good thing and a bad thing. And I have a large number of schools that are in need of these portables, and as bad as I want to get out of the portable business, we will continue to utilize them until such time as that we can gradually catch up. So there is a demand for these portables just as soon as this is finished. These projects are finished. It's the intent that these students go into the building and these portables will leave. So that's what I wanted to offer on the portables, and I'll be glad to answer any other questions you may have.
Thank you. Any questions for the applicant?
Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, we'll conduct a public hearing. If there's anyone present that wishes to speak for or against this application, if you'd come forward and give us your name and address, and you can provide us any comments you may have. Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing and open the floor for any further discussion or a motion.
I would like to just provide some clarification point on the portables. So the city could allow the portables to be tied to a date certain for removal. So, for example, if you occupy and their students are still in the portables during an academic school year, we could modify this condition to tie it to a number of days that you might feel is necessary in order to remove those, or to the close of that academic school year, such as June 1st, whatever that would be, 2025. If that is something that would work with your schedule better than the way it's worded right now.
I would say the end of the academic year based on starting, if this project does complete December of '25, students would immediately, as soon as we get a certificate of occupancy, utilize this building. We will be out of all those portables. Unfortunately, if it's weather like we've been having the last few weeks, I can't get them to the location that they're going, but believe me, the children will be out of those portables as soon as they're quick. So if you want to tie it to June 1st or no later than August 1st of the, school starting the following year, I don't have a problem with that because they'll be gone by then anyway.
I would suggest doing it August 1st, just because they're probably not going to be utilized in the summertime anyway, but that just gives them extra time with respect to this stipulation. It would be my suggestion.
I guess this might be a question for our legal staff or whatever. So approving this special use permit ties them to removing portables at a certain date.
That's correct.
Okay.
Yeah, and however that condition gets worded will be the condition that goes with the permit.
So if the board wishes, you could modify the language in condition number 4 from prior to the issuance of certificate of occupancy, delete the text issuance of certificate of occupancy and replace it with prior to August 1st, 2026. And if anything comes up during the construction schedule, the applicant could come back to request modification of that condition of approval. But hopefully this will help us ensure that those portables will be gone by the time of that next school year, if the board desires.
I'm sure there'll be somewhere else that needs them.
Yeah, and we do have that come up in terms of our process. We have had that and supported those in the past. So.
I'll make a motion that we approve the special use permit using, and then the change of making the portables go away as of August the 1st of, 2026 is what you said?
Does that what it sound like?
Yeah.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Was there any further discussion?
Granted, obviously, the obvious thing is that it's complete, and there is a certificate of occupancy that could be issued, so let's hope it doesn't take you that long.
And just for a point of clarification, and subject to the other conditions of approval.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, motion and a second, subject to the conditions. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none, so that application's been approved. Next, we'll move to application Z2302 by the Rutherford County Board of Education, represented by Jeff Hooper, requesting a special use permit to construct the same type structure, a two-story, 102,000 square foot building at Riverdale High School. Riverdale's in an RS-15 zoning district, and this is for property located at 802 Warrior Drive. Mr. Aguilar, if you'd go over this one for us.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Chair Young. As you mentioned, this is a special use permit application for Riverdale High School, the second item on our agenda today. They are also represented by Jeff Hooper, and they're requesting a special use permit to construct a 102,000 square foot building addition, as well as parking lot modifications at 802 Warrior Drive. Just like Oakland, again, you're going to find a lot of similarities here with this application as well, so I won't go too much in depth with it, but I will highlight the main important parts of it. They, too, will be having an addition that will connect from the main building to the annex, and then also it includes some interior renovations. Additionally, with this addition, there will be some parking lot modifications as well, where they will be taking some parking out, but including some back in. And so the addition will, again, include a catwalk enclosed on the second floor, and will have an opening at grade level for vehicular access, again, for the fire trucks and other emergency vehicles. We did review this one as well, and again, found it to be compliant with the 13-foot height clearance for that. An intercom system will also be installed here with this addition, and that will be used for emergency communications as well. And they will again be having some utilizing the same type of architecture materials that the current building utilizes. So going into the site layout again, it's very similar again to Oakland. We're seeing parking lot modifications to the site where they are removing some and adding some. Currently, they are required, with their existing capacity, they are required to again have 580 spaces. They are providing on-site currently 860. They will be taking away 103 with the addition, and they will be adding back 277. In total, again, they will be having around 1,034. So again, they are going to be Riverdale's High School, and this proposed use will be exceeding Chart 4, the parking requirements. In staff's review of the general standards of applicability, staff found no issue with the lighting and the photometric plan and seen any potential impact to the adjacent properties in the right-of-way. Again, this will be increasing the student population from 2,200 to 2,500. And again, in reviewing the standards, the general standards, the applicant has confirmed that the parking will continue to be managed on-site to mitigate any potential impacts. They do not anticipate any change as well to their on-site circulation. And staff's review of the additional standards for institutional group assembly, staff again did not find any issue with this. The lighting plan reflected that it will not be exceeding beyond the property line, and that the proposed addition. Here is a sheet from the architectural plans that show kind of what's going to be utilized here. And again, the applicant has confirmed that it is going to be matching the current materials that is on the current building. An overall review of the addition, staff again found this to be compliant with, similar to again to Oakland's. The proposed addition will be consistent with the current school, and the current height of the addition will be the same to what is existing today. The additional parking spaces and emergency access, that was one thing I failed to mention. There will be an emergency access on the site, similar to Oakland, and I'm going to go, it's right over here on the site, and I apologize for not mentioning that. There is going to be emergency access on Patriot, and there's going to be an emergency access that is to be included along Warrior Drive here. This is going to be mainly used for emergency access and will be gated as well. And so staff found this to be compliant with our standards as well, and our project engineers will continue to review that during the site plan review. Overall, We found this to be compliant with our standards, and staff recommends approval of the special use permit as it meets the general standards of applicability and additional standards of institutional group assembly. And if approved, staff recommends that the special use permit include the following conditions. I believe now that we noted that with the change to number 4, that is to also be reflected here as well with Riverdale. If you have any questions, I'm available, and the applicants are available for any questions.
Thank you. Any questions for staff? Thank you. Anything you'd like to add to the Riverdale application? No? Okay, same deal. Next, we'll go to the public hearing. Is there anyone present wishing to speak for or against this application? Seeing none, we'll close the public hearing and open the floor for any further discussion or a motion.
Is the completion date the same, December 2026? I'll move to approve, subject to the conditions set forth by staff with the revision on number 4 there about the existing portables being removed by August 1st, 2026.
Second.
The motion is second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There are none, so that application's been approved as well. Next item, staff reports and any other business.
No reports from planning staff.
All right,
Nothing new from legal.
okay. Well, with that, we will adjourn.